think it's worth asking yourself just how many times you've had to endure comments like, why don't you get with a program, or grow up. This speaks worlds to understanding the mind control program that is consensus reality. When we're born into this world, we're unprogrammed and unconditioned. Anything is possible. Santa Claus can be real, and so too can the monster under the bed. Then comes the farmer with his cattle prod in the form of the so-called education system and the TV programs. Program being the key word. We ultimately need to return to this pre-programmed state of early childhood in order to fathom the big picture, because without it, we're the equivalent of a cult whose leader teaches that eyes are evil and anything seen through them is false or blasphemous, and as a result, we willingly gouge our own eyes out. It's ridiculous, of course, but true nonetheless. So, since a child, at first, is unindoctrinated, they care not about skin colour, age, social status, money, fame, looks, and they're open to anything. None of the aforementioned unimportant things matter in the slightest. Why? Because all of these things only matter to adults as a result of mind control. They're all tools to keep us trapped and dependent on the system that enslaves us all. Nothing but junk food for the ego. So, to see the world through the eyes of a child is essential, as Christ tells us in Matthew 18:3. I tell you the truth, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. So, the next time someone tells you to grow up, keep that in mind, and remember that it is their ego talking, which is nothing more than the creation of the system that is our enemy and their enemy. It is this system that is referred to in Revelations as the beast, which it is made clear is a kingdom. It is this kingdom, along with the New World Order, that seeks to mirror that of Christ. And of course, when a Polaroid picture is taken, you have the image and its negative, the negative being the polar opposite. With Christ and Lucifer, we have the same concept. Evil and good in exact opposition. Evil will have its kingdom, and good will have its kingdom. The kingdom, of course, being oneness. Evil seeks to mirror the kingdom of Christ, hence the number 11 being its favourite number, like it says in Isaiah. I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, I will be like the Most High. So, the choice is ours. Whichever kingdom you choose is your decision, as free will and consent are everything. On 9/11, we were all collectively initiated. In Freemasonry, 9 is the number of wholeness, completion, and immortality, as when multiplied it always reproduces itself and can therefore never be annihilated. The 9th degree of Freemasonry, Memphis Mizraim, deals with the destruction of the existing order to bring into fruition the new order. The number 10 is an androgynous number as it represents the hermaphrodite. In this case, the hermaphrodite is our dualistic world of good and evil, and since we're in a dualistic world, knowing good and evil, we're in the grey area between the two. Since 9/11 skips this androgynous grey area, 10, and lands directly on 11, it can be said that 9/11 means complete immortality and oneness with either good or evil, whichever you're inclined towards, via death rebirth, meaning destruction of the existing order and the birth of the new order. So 9 is the number of death rebirth and 11 is the number of the kingdom, or oneness. So say goodbye to the grey area from now on. We are either with love, compassion and enlightenment, symbolised by Christ, or against it. So love, compassion and enlightenment is the way, and if you're not with it, then it can only be surmised that you're against it. Whether or not you fully realise it or not, this is a polarised war of good versus evil. So the same can be said for evil. If you're not with it, you're against it. This does not mean that you hate it. To do so is the contradiction of what love, compassion and enlightenment is all about. What it means is that you simply oppose it. Think of it like this. You might have a friend who has views that you disagree with. Perhaps they're hateful in some way, but they're still a friend. Opposition is not hate. It can escalate into hate if you allow it to snowball, but alone it is not hate. This is why Jesus says in Luke 11:23, He who is not with me is against me, and he who does not gather with me scatters. Since Christ is a representative of love, compassion and enlightenment, this quote makes perfect sense. Now, as we know, Darth Vader in Star Wars resonates with Jesus, which is why in Revenge of the Sith he uses a variation of this quote when he says, "If you're not with me, then you're my enemy." Note that instead of saying against me, he uses the term enemy, which holds slightly different implications than simply opposing somebody. However, Darth Vader is of the dark side, and the dark side, or evil, does see its polar opposite as its enemy, which it hates. Love, compassion and enlightenment knows that its polar opposite, evil, is its enemy, but it does not hate it. As Jesus states in Luke 6:27, love your enemies. Okay, so the point to all this, from my perspective, is just to try to help convey what love, compassion and enlightenment is all about. As far as the Christ references go, I want to be clear that to me, the biblical Jesus is an anthropomorphism of love, compassion and enlightenment. That is to say that when you hear the term Jesus Christ is the way, the truth and the life, it means love, compassion and enlightenment is the way, the truth and the life. Whether there really was a Jesus is not something I personally know, but I certainly believe the teachings of Christ to be valid in what they're conveying, and I'm not the only one. To heal the collective balance, you have to heal your own balance, but at the same time, you can't heal your own balance without contributing to the healing of the collective. The two are not mutually exclusive. They are one and the same. You cannot do one without the other, if you're going to do it properly. Like I said earlier, we need to start by viewing the world through the eyes of a child. Pre-programming, pre-indoctrination. And on that note, I'm going to leave you for now.